The cause of terrorism, I would say, is lack of wider spectrum of knowledge. God, we think, is someone up there to whom we have to connect. I don't prescribe to that idea. I see if there is something by which we are all made up of, that summum bonum of the whole creation, that's what I perceive as God. Like the space around us. Can you ever be outside the space? Almost impossible. Impossible.
It seems that the reconnection to the felt experience of God, to know that everywhere you fall in God's arms. You can't fall outside. That feeling, that knowing that everybody is participating in that field of God, that seems to be what is deeply missing the most from our world.
Spirituality is something which is beyond religion, which unites people of all faiths. It is pure experience of existence. And that is the same for everybody. You only believe what you don't know.
You only believe what you don't know.
That's where the question turns into wonder. In question you want to know, but in a wonder, you're simply there.
We've become somewhat allergic to the title Guru, and I think for good cause. But Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar really holds a presence and an essence about him that in my mind makes him worthy of such a title. And I get to drop in with him live on stage and just share a little bit from our own hearts and our own minds, and then receive some questions from the audience. So it's my pleasure to bring you guys this podcast with Gurudev Sri Sri Ravishankar.
So good to see you again.
Somehow Dallas is pulling me back. This is the third time I've come to Texas.
there's a draw to Austin, Texas.
Absolutely.
It's strong. One of these things that's drawing forward now in the world is this feeling that we're getting back our connection to God. And there's many stories and many different traditions and ways that teach us how to understand God. But then there's the personal connection that we have to God. And so the first question I wanted to ask you and talk to you about is, what is your personal relationship to God? And how does that personal relationship move through the stories of your culture and the ideas and archetypes of your culture and your tradition?
God is always been personal. Like love. Love is personal. You can't say, oh, there is a public love. Right? Love is your very personal feeling, experience. So is also God. God, we think, is someone up there to whom we have to connect. I don't prescribe to that idea. I see if there is something by which we are all made up of, that summum bonum of the whole creation, that's what I perceive as God. Like the space around us. Can you ever be outside the space? Almost impossible. Impossible. Wherever you go, space is there. Right? Now, feeling that is something that one has to cultivate. Like air is everywhere. But when you sit near the fan, you can feel it more. So through meditation, you can feel that love, feel God, who is there within you all the time.
It sounded like from the introduction that you started feeling God very young, that you were always connected to the God that you could feel, the God that... It's a very funny thing when people ask, do you believe in God? I said, what do you mean? Do I believe? I know. I feel it. I feel God. And it seems like you also had that experience of feeling God for your whole life.
Yeah. You only believe what you don't know.
You only believe what you don't know. Yeah. So as you start to apply words and stories and archetypes to this feeling that we have, the feeling that we can all feel if we get real quiet and we listen to our heart, how have the stories of your culture helped you understand the divine?
I see spirituality moves beyond cultures. Culture is limited to our belief system, our food, the way we dress, our language, music, and all those stuff. But spirituality is something which is beyond religion, which unites people of all religions. It is pure experience of existence. So, and that, and that is the same for everybody.
Yes, I agree. It is the same. And then our mind, though, our mind likes to think in stories. It likes to have ways that we can perceive with the mind. And so beyond, and I know I'm asking in many different ways, but beyond just the feeling and the knowing and the universality of the truth of God, how have some stories that you've carried, do you still carry any stories that are helpful for you, like Brahman, Shiva, or any stories that really help you understand the divine?
Oh, there are many stories. In Upanishads, there are stories. For example, a small child, a boy comes and asks his father, Dad, what is God like? Have you heard this story?
No.
So a boy asks God, what is God like? And the father takes the boy outside the home and he says, look, what was here before this house was built? And the boy says, space. And he says, where this house stands now? He said, in the space. When the house is removed, it's destroyed. What will remain? He said, space. I said, God is that space in which everything is. Isn't that a beautiful story?
That's a beautiful story.
Make children understand that there is something that is indestructible, that remains all through. And that's God. And there is another story similar to that. It said, okay, another boy comes and asks his teacher, tell me the greatest. And the teacher said the highest is food, because everything grows by food, sustained by food, and everything becomes food for something else. Right? So once we are gone, this body becomes food for many other things, creatures. So the boy just goes and then he contemplates on it, says, no, this is not the highest. Then he comes back and he again asks the father, the teacher, tell me, what is the highest? Then he says the prana, the life force. Because everything is created by life force, sustained by life force, and will dissolve into life force, prana, the life energy. And the boy goes, contemplates on it, experiences, and comes back again. What is that highest? Then he says the mind. It's the mind, our consciousness, which is responsible. Then again, he comes for the fourth time. By the time the boy is matured quite a bit, and he says, what is that? Then he said, consciousness, the wisdom in the consciousness is the highest. And after mulling on that, he never comes and says, teacher, you said the wrong thing to me. No, he knows that these are the step one has to go through. Because our concept will remain a concept if it is not in our experience. The teacher wants a child to completely experience every step and know the truth about it and know the limitation about everything. Mind has its limitation and knowledge has its limitation. Finally, when the boy comes, the teacher says, the highest is bliss, Anandam. Anandam Brahmeti. Anandam, the bliss is Brahman. Because everything is born out of bliss, is sustained in bliss and dissolves back into the bliss. Now, once he knows what bliss is, there is no question. All the question dissolves. So then they simply smile at each other and enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's where the question turns into wonder. You know, in question, you want to know. But in a wonder, you're simply there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Wonder is a question for which you are not looking for an answer. And if you notice something very important, very, very astonishing is, the physiologists say that the question and misery comes from the same part of the brain. Whereas wonder is in the frontal lobe, question goes to the backside. That's why when people are miserable, then they ask, why this misery to me? Why am I? Why me? Nobody asks, why I'm so happy. We take it for granted when we are happy, when everything is okay. We don't say, why I'm so happy? Nobody asks.
Beautiful answer. So as we look out with many of the challenges in the world, and for those of us who really explore the mystery of God, there are some challenging elements, some forces that seem opposed to life force, on one level at least, the forces that look for war and control and numbness and the degradation of our human sovereignty and our beauty and our bliss. And it seems like there are forces that are trying to just quiet the force of life, the force of God. What do you think about when you think about those forces? What's your relationship to the forces that seem to be in opposition to God, to life, to love, to bliss, to consciousness?
Only two things. One is stress, another is ignorance. A person who is stressed engages into violent activity. And when he is ignorant, when he doesn't know the ultimate reality that we are all one. There is one love, one consciousness which permeates everyone. This knowledge is missing. When this ignorance is there, that ignorance causes more fear. And the perceived threat is the cause of all problems. You know, if today there is war between Ukraine and Russia, they both think each one is their threat to each other, their existence. And so there is war. And so when there's a perceived threat, survival is a natural instinct. You want to survive. So to survive, you want to attack. And this is so unfortunate. That lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom, I feel is the cause of suffering for humanity.
It seems implied in that answer that the reconnection to the felt experience of God, to know that everywhere you fall in God's arms. You can't fall outside. That feeling, that knowing that everybody is participating in that field of God, that seems to be what is deeply missing the most from our world, from not everybody, but from many people. And if that could be transmitted in a way, and I know you've been working your whole life to transmit that, but it feels like the whole world would be acting in a very different way.
Yeah. Prejudice is one thing. There's been prejudice in the world when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to knowledge. I often ask people the same question. For the last 42 years I've been asking. See, when it comes to food, we accept food from every part of the world, right? By eating Danish cookies, we don't become Danish. So, we eat Chinese food, we eat pastas and pizzas, which are from Italy, basically, and then we accept food from every part of the world. Gulab jamun and samosa is quite popular for me. So, while we accept food from every part of the world, music from every part of the world, see now, the NATO NATO got Oscar award. Many people don't even know what NATO NATO means. So, music we accept from every part of the world. But when it comes to wisdom, there seems to be some block. Because of fear, oh, maybe I will be angry, I will be upsetting my God if I accept some other knowledge. Oh, my knowledge, my way is the only way, every other way will lead to hell. This sort of fear about the other has been implanted in our culture, in our societies. That's one reason that we have become more fundamental or fanatics in it. The cause of terrorism, I would say, is lack of wider spectrum of knowledge. When you think only my way I can reach the God, all other ways will take you to hell, then you create hell for others. You see? That type of lack of understanding of wisdom. That's why I say, every child should know a little bit about all the different wisdoms in the world. We have 10 major faiths in the world. They should know a little bit about Buddhism, a little bit about Christianity, a little bit about Islam, a little bit about the Vedic ancient Hindu culture, a little bit about Taoism, a little bit about Shintoism. This will make one's life much richer. And you will see there is an underlying current in between all that. And what everybody says, well, the essence of it all, love. The essence of it all is peace. And accept diversity. You celebrate diversity. I think this wisdom is essential on the religious and spiritual field. And the political and social field. We should wake up and see the borders are man-made. In this lifetime, we are at this side of the border. Who knows, in the next lifetime, you will be born on the other side of the border. Mm-hmm. The life is eternal, So that broad-mindedness, seeing the whole world as one family, will make a big difference. See, the corona has almost demolished the concept of mine and others. A virus which you don't even see has spread throughout the world. Right? And see, the subtler you go, you can't own things. I cannot say, this is my air, nobody can breathe into my air. Right? So, air is permeating and subtler than the space. And so we are all connected in some way or other. Everybody is connected. This awareness can bring down many of the conflicts in the world.
Yes. He said that there has been ideas and stories of separation between my ideas, my stories and your stories, my God and your God, and this has been implanted in culture. It's been, used in politics to create this kind of tribal identity and create a lot of anger and a lot of passion. When you see those people and those forces who are acting in that way, what do you think is the best way to respond when you recognize that there's somebody who's pushing something that's pushing people apart? How do you respond to those divisive elements?
First of all, if you think they are negative forces, and what your natural tendency to you want to stay away from them, right? But when you see them as patients, as people who are not well, who are sick, and their thought process, their mind is all distorted, then you reach out to them and see how you can create a communication.
Yeah.
You see? So I never brand anybody as a bad person, because no child is born on this planet being an evil child. Every child who's come to this planet has come as a bubbling joy, as a bundle of joy. Isn't it? Do you all agree? Huh? Any child, anywhere in the world, you see them, they've come here as beautiful kids. And due to circumstances, due to lack of opportunities, to know better, to communicate better, and some hurts, some wounds they carry in their hearts, in their mind, their actions are bad. And that is the signs of incarceration. Putting someone behind the bar is not because they did something wrong and angry towards them, but with compassion for them to recuperate.
Yeah.
They get back to themselves. They're not good, they're sick in their action. So retire and rest well, and meditate, and you'll become a better person. And I've seen this happening over and over and again. I want to mention, in Denmark, I went to Denmark after 8 long years of gap, and last September, and I addressed about 6,000 ex-militants. And they were all gang members, very tall, big, and after doing our program, total transformation, there was not one dry eye in the meeting. They were all so good and so grateful. They said, why didn't we have this knowledge before? We have caused pain to so many families. Some said, I have, shot many people down. But we were never told about this. We never saw that there is so much love and care and concern in humanity. Then they were asking, will our wrongdoings be ever forgiven? I said, yes. You have realized you are not the same person, you are different. So I told them a small story of Lord Buddha. You might.
I would love to hear the story.
How about? Is it story time?
Story time.
Lord Buddha was giving sermons at his congregation. Thousands would come and sit. It was in India. India was the pinnacle of intellectual glory those days, 2,500 years ago. So they were all sitting, and then one gentleman came. He was furious and got so angry, and he just stood in front of Buddha and he spat on him. And the entire crowd was stunned, and some people tried to rise and something. Buddha signed them. And then this man, in a little while, because there was no reaction from Buddha's side, he was calm and serene, was smiling. So this gentleman went away. The thing was, his son he had 3 sons, and 3 of them started following Buddha's meditation, and they were in somehow not interested in pursuing the father's business. So that made him angry. But when he went back home, suddenly something dawned on him that so far nobody was there who did not react to what he did. For the first time he experienced somebody, he did not react, and the calming energy just hit him. And he couldn't sleep the whole night. Next day, he thought, I should go and ask forgiveness from this gentleman. So he goes in front of Buddha and asks him, would you please forgive me for what I did yesterday? It was my problem. Buddha said, no, I can't forgive you. And the congregation got stunned. Lord Buddha is one who forgives everybody. Here he says, no, I'm not good. No, I can't forgive you. What do you think? Is it shocking for you? Yeah? Someone is repenting on what he did, and Buddha says, no, I can't forgive you. Buddha said, the person who spat and the person on whom you spat are no longer here. Life is like a river where there is fresh water every moment. So if I ever meet the person on whom you spat, I will tell him to forgive you. So you are new, I am new. Let's move on. Let's be in the present moment. Every moment life is new. This is what the wisdom brings us to us. I would add one more thing to that. Life is both ancient and new as well. Like the river, Mississippi River is ancient, billions of years old. But again, every moment the water there is new. So we are all very ancient. We are all connected from millions of years. Yet we are very new.
Reminds me of my favorite quote from Heraclitus. And he said, no person steps in the same river twice, because it's not the same river and it's not the same person. And this concept would really revolutionize the world, as with many of these concepts. And as we're looking to spread this wisdom, this love, this knowledge, this understanding out into the world, and we're trying to do our best to share this with people, one of the practices that many of us have, but maybe have lost a connection to, is the practice of prayer. And because of course we know all the things we can do. We can podcast, and we can share our social media stories, and we can tell stories, and we can express with the presence of our being. But prayer is something that's also in some ways been forgotten by many people. And there's many ways to pray. But for you, what does prayer mean? And what is the importance of prayer in these times?
Prayer happens in 2 occasions. When you are utterly helpless, when you recognize your helplessness, and when you want something, and then you pray. Right? Prayer happens. Oh, please, I'm so thirsty. I'm in a desert water. Please, can you give me a glass of water? That's very genuine. That asking that comes from deep inside, which out of helplessness, prayer comes out. Second, when you are so grateful for what you have. Gratefulness. Suppose you are saved, and you say, I'm so grateful I'm saved. I'm so grateful. So when you recollect what you have, whatever you have received, you feel grateful. So then prayer happens. Prayer is not a set word that you try to say it again or to please God. It just recognizing the gratefulness in life and expressing the gratefulness or the desperateness that we have, wanting something. These two things. Again, prayer is asking God, please give me this, will you give me that, will you forgive me? Saying something. And meditation is telling God, I am here, what is that you want to tell? I am here to listen to you. So they complement each other. Meditation will make you more grateful, and so prayer arises. And if you are prayerful and you are grateful, meditation happens to you. One after the other.
That's so beautiful. All right. Well, we have some beautiful people here in the audience who are going to ask some questions and come up. And I just.
Some no, I see all beautiful people are there. Little correct. Yeah, okay, go
This
ahead.
is the truth. All right. So, all beautiful people, but one at a time.
One at a time.
One at a time, all beautiful people. If you'd like to ask a question.
Yeah. Intuition process, we teach them over a few days for kids and make them practice, and it works. The whole philosophy is when the mind is free from cravings and aversions, it is in touch with the self very easily. And so it's in contact with the universal mind. So very quickly it can catch and it can say things. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can do all that. With adults, I'm a little bit concerned about Las Vegas and, and the casinos. No, we are opening for adults as well. It takes a little longer time for adults than children. Children happens in no time, very. For adults, they have to get rid of all those latent impression in the mind to feel free. Kids naturally feel very free inside. So it happens very quickly.
Recently, I'm in an interesting position where I'm leading meditation workshops, and the environment is Web3. These are people who spend a lot of time on their computer. I'm primarily working with companies, and the boss says, all of you have to go and listen to meditation workshop guy. I want to encourage them to adopt a meditation practice and to continue on. And I was just wondering if you have any tips or advice that I can share with these people in these workshops to encourage them to adopt a meditation practice. If you have anything to share with me, to share with them.
Yeah, you are doing a very good job. I think you should continue. Encourage people to do meditation. Yes. And meditation is effortless. Number one. Today, there is a lot of talk about mindfulness. Because many people think meditation is all religious or spiritual. So, to sanitize, so-called sanitize, use the word sanitize, you want to sanitize it of all other belief systems, spirituality. But I say, if it is too much sanitized, it loses its originality, its main purpose, and its main energy. So, from ages, people have been meditating. And so we need to honor that and honor the original meditation of, uh, of sages and rishis who have done this. Yeah.
The question I have is the origin, your known, the origin of the illusion of the idea that one human being can somehow correct another human being to guide them, to control them, that causes them to follow orders, that causes them to obey, that causes them to confuse obedience with what's right. So my question is, where do you think this illusion of authority comes from?
Where is the origin of illusion? Is that what you're asking? Now, before I answer this question, I would like you to tell me which is the beginning point of a tennis ball. See, when we think in a linear fashion, we always think of beginning and end somewhere. But when you take a break from that and look at a spherical thinking, in a sphere, there is no beginning and there is no end, or every point is a beginning and every point is an end. Now, for example, a mirage. Mirage is an appearance. If you say, when did the mirage begin, what would you say? It doesn't begin. A mirage is a mirage. It is there, it is appearing like that, but it is not there. Right? In a mirage, you see like water on the street, it is appearing, but it is not, there is no water there. So when did the mirage happen? No, there is no answer for that.
The beginning of authority, in my understanding, was the moment I started to use it. And the illusion of authority is the moment I stopped using it.
But this is, it's a beginning and end of your perception, but not the mirage there. Yeah, I can say, my perception began and my perception ended. It changes. My perception keeps changing. I see sun setting and a sun rising. It is my perception. Sun never sets and never rises. That's a fact.
I want to talk about the World Culture Festival that's coming up.
And this is the fourth time we'll be having World Culture Festival. Bring people from all different cultures on one platform. So, and it's not just some celebrities and coming and performing and going. It's the common people. The budding artists will get a stage to exhibit their art. That's the beauty in this. Of course, there'll be some celebrities also, but mainly it will be young people coming and dancing and singing and celebrating life. See, the motto of Art of Living is to make life a celebration. See life from a broader perspective. We're not going to be here forever. The time we are here, we should make life a celebration. What do you say? Don't you think so? Why to make the point of contention so much, so hard and create tension in society, feeling the differences and letting go of all those walls, come down and coming together and sharing a meal with everybody. Different cuisines will be there, food from all different parts of the world, music and dance from every part of the world, and on top of it, meditation. I would say 3 M's can bring people together: meditation, meals, and music. And that's the World Culture Festival. And so the world, and there is WWW, that is Washington welcomes the world there. And so we thought it will create more positive vibrations, more positive energy, which is so much needed now post-COVID. You must have heard one of the cause of violence is isolation. Did you hear about that? Mental health is such a big issue. Meditation and celebration can help people come out of the mental health crisis. That's a very important thing I felt we have to do now. And so we thought in Washington, D.C., let's do it to bring that positive vibrations. What do you think? Huh? I would like all of you to come and join. Let's make the world a better place. You see, there are 2.9 mass shootings per day in this country. This somehow, I cannot digest this. We don't want to leave this world in this state for the younger generation. Isn't it? Don't you think so? We want a safe and secure world. For that, we have to see the violence goes down. The motto of the festival is to see a violence-free society, stress-free society, and a healthy and happy society. I hope we all share the same dream, right? We all want to see everyone happy, right? Yeah. So let's work together on that.
It seems that both of those things, meditation, which can connect you to the field of belonging, where you don't feel isolated anymore because you're connected to everything, and celebration, where you get to see the connection with all of the people that you're celebrating with, or a meal. It's the same thing, just in different forms.
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah.
One last question, yeah. Yeah. You know, 42 years back, when I started traveling around the world, when I came to America and all that, except in California and some parts of California, many parts of this country and Europe, they thought meditation, yoga is not for normal people, it's for someone who's out there. Someone must be cuckoo, someone. It was not thought to be a mainstream narration. Even in India, it's like that. And people would think, oh, your meditation yoga, you must be going to Himalayas or going into Allahabad. But today, I tell you, it has changed. If you see even BMW and Volkswagen, all their advertisements, you see someone sitting in a lotus pose as a symbol of relaxation, as being comfort. So inner comfort today has been associated with meditation, and that is what it is. Meditation is to help you to behave better in society, to think better, to be happy in life. It's not to run away from life. Meditation is not negation of life. It is embracing life. This knowledge is today percolated. So almost 1/3 of humanity today are practicing yoga and meditation. 1/3 of humanity. 2.5 billion people or 3 billion people are practicing today. So the world has changed. And we are, Art of Living Sky Breath Workshop is in 108 universities in this country alone. And in India, it is part of the curriculum. If you want to go to engineering college, it is in the induction program. In the first year itself, everyone has to go through. So, world over it, they are recognized. And today, in the news, they have said, New York City has made it compulsory for all school children. Have you heard about it? In New York City, they have introduced all kids in the school must do the breathing technique. They say mindfulness breathing. Breathing technique. Because it helps kids. It helps kids to be less aggressive. And it helps people to get out of depression. Why would something that help you to be happier not be used? Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you. And I've had before we finish here, I've had the pleasure of asking you many questions and receiving many beautiful answers from your wisdom. And I want to just offer you the opportunity to return the favor and for me to have the honor of receiving one question from you to me.
That's a tough one. I have no question other than asking, how are you? Are you happy? But I already see that you're happy.
It's true. It's
Lovely.
true. I'm happier every day. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you, everybody, for coming out.
Thanks for tuning into this video. Make sure you hit subscribe, follow me at Aubrey Marcus, check out the Aubrey Marcus podcast available everywhere, and leave a comment. Let me know if this video resonated or what else you would like to hear from me in the future. Thank you so much.